Hello, Colin here from advancedmindpowertraining.com with the fourth video in this training series, and this one I've entitled Stop Negative Thinking, Program the Subconscious Mind for Success. And we're going to look at three things here. Firstly, where your beliefs come from and how they're formed. Secondly, how to flip negative thinking using a very powerful three-letter word. And lastly, fast and effective ways to reprogram the subconscious mind. So let's look at first, where and how do beliefs come from? Well, Bruce Lipton wrote a fantastic book called The Biology of Belief, one that I strongly recommend you read if you haven't read it. And in there he talks about there's two factors that are really the big shapers of our belief systems. The first one are the brain states that we're in, and the second one is the environment that we're in. So we have our brain states, remember back to D, so beta, alpha, theta and delta. And up here we have the environment represented by not such a great environment, represented by a fantastic environment, the sun. So between the ages of 0 and 3, we're predominantly in delta, okay? When you think that delta is where we sleep, you think of how much time that babies are sleeping. They can sleep an awful lot. Wake up, all right, go to the toilet and have some food and go back to sleep. So between the ages of 0 and 3, it's not exactly 3, these are guidelines, okay? Between the ages of 3, we're in delta. And then between the ages of 3 to 7, we're in theta. And theta is that brainwave frequency which is super absorbent. If any of you have had hypnotherapy, then you will have been taken down into theta, because there we're very suggestive, the critical mind is no longer there, and we accept whatever it is that the therapist is saying, usually the opposite of the problems that we bring to them. So here we're super suggestive. So when you think of the environment we're in, we're accepting pretty much everything we're being told from our environment around us. And we're little learning machines. I mean, we have tons of questions. We want to know how things work, and we're trying to understand our world. And it's been said that 95% of our beliefs are already taken on board by the time that we're 7. And then we spend the rest of our life trying to unlearn all of them, right? Because much of what we've been taken on board is, out of date, old programming, negative programming, and it's not going to support us when we want to achieve the lives that we want to achieve. Then, between the ages of 7 and 14, we move up into alpha. And alpha is that place of creativity and imagination. And, you'll certainly see that if you've got children, they're still very creative, as long as they're in a great environment. Still got all that creativity. But then when we get to 14, or when we hit puberty, then we shift. As soon as we can reproduce, we shift and we head up into beta. And this is where, as we said, conscious and subconscious mind up here, and then we start to live our life predominantly from here. And there's this little filter that starts to be created where we start to become judgmental and skeptical and cynical and all of those of this world that we're living in. And we start to take on board these rules and start living by these rules. And we start to really communicate more to the conscious mind and do not communicate as well to the subconscious mind. As I've gone around and spoken with people, most people understand the conscious, but they don't understand the subconscious very much or very well. So we really need to communicate down here, and you'll see that you've got these reds and these greens, pluses. So this is negative, this is positive, and we take on board negative and positive beliefs, limiting and empowering beliefs, if you like. And what we need to address are the limiting beliefs, the beliefs that are going to limit us. And that brings me across to the rat and the cat over here, and I did, that's the best I could do in terms of drawing a rat. Let me explain. The rat stands for reoccurring afflictive thoughts. It's been said that we have about 60,000 thoughts a day. It's an awful lot of thoughts, and many of them are just reoccurring thoughts. Now, an afflictive thought obviously is not good, okay? It holds us back from tapping our potential. It holds us back from really achieving the things that we want to achieve. And when you think about rats, they tend to scurry around in darkness. Most people have a lot of fear over the rats. It's been said that you're only ever 3 meters away from a rat. In other words, there's an awful lot of them. But rats, we need to become aware of the rats that are scurrying around in our mind in those dark crevices. How do we do that? Well, we use a torch. The torch is awareness. We need to become aware of this negative thinking. We need to pay attention to the thoughts that we're having. Certainly a lot more than we have been doing if we want to achieve greatness, if we want to achieve our goals. And you're on board with this 90-day challenge. You've got a goal that you want to set in 90 days. You've got to take care of the rats, because if you don't take care of the rats, it's going to be quite difficult to achieve. So how do we take care of the rats? Well, up here we have cats, and that's meant to be my lion there, lion roaring. Lions are powerful creatures, right? And this is a counter-affirmative thought. So how we counter with an affirmative thought. So let me give you an example, and this is the 3-letter word, which is the very powerful sort of flip word that we can use. So when we hear ourselves or thinking or saying out loud something negative, we then flip it across to something positive. So, and I should say that I've got L times 3, probably very difficult for you to see, that rats are really 3 L's, right? Limits, lacks and labels, right? Limits, lacks and labels. Anytime we limit ourselves, so it's a belief that we need to look at. Anytime that we're experiencing lack in our lives, we need to take a look at it. Anytime we have a label, and labels are really powerful. Labels start with I am. And many of us have picked up labels because as we were growing up, we were measured against an external measuring stick. So that might be the measuring stick of popularity. You're measured against how popular you were. And if you weren't popular, then obviously you're a nerd and you're a geek. It could have been the grades, measured against grades. This is a big one for me because I didn't do very well when I left school. So I had a belief which is I am slow. Maybe it's beauty, so if you stacked up, then you're a beautiful person. If you didn't stack up, then you're an ugly person, or that's what you believed anyway. It could have been money, so if you have the ability to earn money and attract money, then I am a successful person versus I am a failure. So external measuring sticks versus internal measuring sticks, and understanding and measuring ourselves against our own ability. But these are, any one of those 3 we need to look at. We need to shine the awareness on it and then use an and. So if I have a belief, I can never achieve my goals, okay? That's definitely a limiting belief. There's a rat, okay? I've heard myself say it, and I heard myself say it inside my head. So now I use the and. I can never achieve my goals, and I stand a great chance of achieving them with my 90-day plan. And what that does, you see, is the subconscious mind is really the servant. I mean, that's all it is. It's the servant to the conscious mind. It just accepts whatever it is that we say. And in the membership site, I put the 4 rules of the subconscious mind, a video in there. So if you're in the membership site, you can go and take a look at that. And the subconscious mind is really the servant. It's a bit like that's the soil and that's the gardener. So, if a gardener sows the seed of a tomato, you wouldn't expect a rose. If we're sowing seeds of negativity, then we shouldn't expect positive things. We shouldn't expect to be able to achieve the goals that we want. If we're sowing positive thoughts, then once again, we'll probably achieve the things that we want to achieve. We stand a much better chance anyway. So it's very important that when we have a thought and it's a lack, limit or a label, that we flip it very quickly into something positive, more affirmative, okay? More affirmative. Affirmations, I like to call them, because it's not just the thought, it's the feeling that it gives you. So if I go, I can never achieve my goals, and now that I have a 90-day plan, I can, if I just connect with that feeling of confidence, then that just gets dropped into the subconscious mind. Now the critical thing here is to do it immediately. So when you hear yourself saying something negative, immediately flip it using the and. It's much better than doing it 2 weeks later or 2 years later or 10 years later, okay? Immediately flip it and then let that drop into the subconscious, because the subconscious then goes about looking to achieve that. So we looked at where beliefs come from and how they're formed. We've looked at how to flip negative beliefs using a powerful 3-letter word. So let's look at fast and effective ways to reprogram the subconscious mind. Okay, I'm going to switch to a different presentation medium here. I'm going to use slides and talk to these slides because this section is a bit more data and research driven. And at the end of it, I'm going to offer you a very special gift. Okay, let's look at fast and effective ways to reprogram the subconscious mind. And because this is the last video, let's just remind ourselves of some of the key learning points from the previous videos. Firstly, the single most important key to living your dreams is utilizing your mindset. No matter what your dream is, you can make it a reality when you master your mindset. Secondly, to make any change or achieve anything, you need both inspiration and faith. Inspiration gives you the determination and faith gives you the belief. And when you have inspiration and faith, you will have more confident feelings inside, you'll become more successful in your life, and you'll basically become unstoppable. Thirdly, any misalignment between your conscious intention and your subconscious programming leads to struggle, difficulty, and a lack of results, and feelings of frustration, hopelessness, and apathy. Fourthly, so to change the outcome you're getting right now, you have to change the reoccurring afflictive thoughts, the rats, from your subconscious mind. And lastly, these 4 brainwave patterns, beta, alpha, theta, and delta, BAT-D, have a direct relationship to your thoughts, emotions, states of being, and really your whole quality of life. Now, through experimentation, scientists have found that you can use these brain states to create the right conditions for mind programming. This is called the science of brainwave entrainment. By stimulating the naturally occurring brain frequencies of beta, alpha, theta, and delta using sound technology, you can literally turn on the right types of mindsets that you need to perform at your best. But you can also reprogram the beliefs that are in your subconscious mind, those beliefs that are creating negative emotions such as anxiety, anger, apathy, stress, doubt, and fear. Now you might be wondering, what is this sound technology that has the potential to change your life in less than 15 minutes a day? It's called isochronic tone technology. Whilst that might sound completely alien to you, it's actually simple to understand in principle and scientifically proven. Isochronic tones are considered by far the most effective way of brainwave entrainment. That works thanks to a natural neurological phenomenon known as frequency following response. This refers to the tendency of the brain adjusting to the frequency of its own brainwave output in accordance with the frequency of the sound that it's hearing. So by listening to an isochronic recording, which is designed to stimulate your brain to produce brainwaves of, say, 10 Hertz, for example, you should be more easily able to enter the alpha brainwave state to which this frequency corresponds. Isochronic tones can be used to effortlessly remove subconscious resistance and quickly reprogram your subconscious mind for success, inner power, and prosperity. Which brings us nicely to the Mind Power Plus Toolkit. I've professionally recorded 4 guided visualizations to support you in programming your subconscious mind for success. Each one of these recordings uses isochronic tones mixed with beautiful soothing music. Each one takes you on a guided visualization where I use my voice to evoke your imagination to offer counter alternative thoughts or CATs